to Liberia, members of the diplomatic corps and international organizations, and partners here present, heads of private sector and civil society organizations, invited guests, friends of the Liberian Forest, members of the state, and good morning. It gives me great pleasure to join you today for the National Forest Forum 2025 and to read the opening statement by His Excellency Joseph Nima Boakai Sr. Now, the opening statement. This National Forest Forum 2025 provides an important space for reflection, dialogue, and collective commitment towards safeguarding and sustainably managing Liberia's rich forest heritage. Liberia is blessed with one of the Upper Guinea Forest for our country, but Africa sub-region and the world. Yet, despite this enormous endowment, the forestry sector of Liberia has not performed to its full potential since the end of our civil conflict. For more than 2 decades, we have seen repeated promises, fragmented interventions, and cycles of promises and underperformance. The forest sector has not delivered the expected economic, social, and environmental dividends that should improve the lives of our people, especially those living in forest-dependent communities. Our forest institutions remain weak. Enforcement of laws and regulations remains inconsistent. Illegal activities, encroachment, and overlapping land uses persist. The potential of forest carbon, biodiversity conservation, and community forest management remains largely untapped. This, ladies and gentlemen, is unacceptable for a country so richly and so deeply reliant on its natural capital. Under my administration as President of Liberia, I envision a robust, transparent, and well-functional forest sector, one that is accountable, efficient, and responsive to both the needs of our people and the environmental obligation of our nation. The forest must once again become Liberia's sustainable growth, contributing meaningfully to our national development agenda, more job creation, climate resilience, and environmental stability. But to move forward effectively, we must first begin with the truth. We must have clarity on the actual status of our national forest estate. According to 2004 National Forest Inventory conducted by the World Bank Group and the Forestry Development Authority, Liberia's total forest cover was estimated at 4.3 million hectares. Yet today, we are being told that this figure has increased to 6.6 million hectares. This sudden increase of 2.3 million hectares raises serious questions. Where are these new forest areas located? In which counties can we find them? What accounts for such a dramatic change in our forest statistics? These are not trivial matters. Accurate data is the foundation for sound policy making, credible forest management, and effective international engagement. Without clarity, confusion will continue to undermine our credibility and decision-making as a nation. Therefore, I am directing the Managing Director of the Forest Development Authority, the Honorable Rudolph J. Murab Sr., and his senior management team and experts to report to my office within 2 to 6 weeks with a clear explanation and reconciliation of these discrepancies surrounding Liberia's total standing forest cover. We owe it to the Liberian people and to the global community to manage our forest based on truth, transparency, and scientific accuracy. Only then can we chart a responsible and transformative path forward for the forest sector of our country. I wish you all a productive and honest forum, and I look forward to the concrete outcomes that will emerge from your discussions. May God bless our forests. May God bless all those who protect them. And may God bless the Republic of Liberia. And I thank you.
So folks, if you are just joining this broadcast, this is OK Online TV live coming to you.
Kindly give Dr. Corney another round of applause.
Ministerial complex here in Concord Town, where the Forestry Development Agency organized a post-national forest forum 2025.
Thanks, and kindly take your seats.
UK International.
Following that statement Dr. Corney, on behalf of His Excellency President Boaka, we now move on to special remarks. We want to appeal to you to stick within 2 minutes, as we have a lot of grounds to cover. Kindly make your statement or remarks in 2 minutes. And we'd like to begin with the Honorable Say Thompson. He's the President of the National Union of Community Forest Management Bodies. Is Mr. Say Thompson here? Mr. Thompson, you're welcome. You have 2 minutes, sir, to speak on behalf of the NUCFMB. Thank you very much.
We would like to use this time to state on existing protocol and say our platform guest, donors, citizens, Union of Community Forest, ladies and gentlemen. I bring the National Forest Management Body in terms of forest management that is created to represent community interest at the national level. President of the is to government, society, donors, partners to seek the interests of the dwellers. The President of the Union and its members, we have about 57 community forests in Liberia that cover 1 million hectare plus. The National Union stands to collaborate with government and partners to actually see the sustainable management of forests in Liberia. Not government, civil society efforts will be realized. We attended 2023 Forest Forum. We have not yet seen the result. And today, the National Union says to commit you, the government, to work in close collaboration with you to see how community at the protected area will also benefit from all forest sectors. As community people, we hold the forest. We are experiencing of carbon. How to divide ourselves again with sectoral commitment or mandate with divine national interest, collaboration, coordination, and partnership is why communities seek for our forest, where donors' efforts will not go in vain. The issue of rivalry over natural resources is because of poor coordination. So, in close consultation, Forestry Development Authority, where we can all have at a single structure that we can believe and shoulder and say yes, Liberia have air-use plane. So on this note, committed stand basically that the carbon policy, the carbon of the NA to request input where in a network can develop this country. That community be part of that and integrate the land right and community right law into the policy framework. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Say Thompson. We will now have the private sector, and the private sector is represented by Mrs. Elizabeth Croyan, acting president of the Liberia Timber Association. I think I saw her earlier. So please give her a round of applause as she comes to the podium to speak on behalf of the private sector. Again, we'd like to appeal to all of us to keep within the time of 2 minutes to help us to keep on course with our program for the day. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Madam Elizabeth Croyan. Eliza, correction please.
Good morning. We want to say a big thank you to FDA family for inviting the private sector to be specific, the timber industry. 2023, we had this forum, and we have come to build up where we learn. They say lesson learned. So we pray that at the end of this forum, all the key items, here conservation, red and commercial will be discussed, and at the end of it, we know where we are going. We've been discussing the timber industry. We have so many discussions, and up to now, we don't know where we are. We are trying to come back to be strong again, and we hope that we will get a help from our FDA family to help us to move forward. Thank you very much.
Yes, Madam Elizabeth provided, representing the private sector, make a remark on this program, like in the launch of National Forest.
Okay, so again, with a little bit of adjustment, I guess you saw the provision for photos. We will now move into the photo session. And please remain in your seat because we have a protocol how the photos will be done. Please listen out as we call you. Let's now join the Deputy Managing Director. Okay, so we begin with the high-level guest cameras. Okay, so we have another shift again. We will continue with the program with the comments. So we'll now call on civil society. The civil society is represented by Mr. Wilfred Gregory Johnson, Executive Director of the Sustainable Development Institute. Is Mr. Johnson here? Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Welcome.
Very good morning to all of you, and I will make sure I stay in the 2 minutes allotted to us. Let me build on the existing protocols and say a few words on behalf of civil society organizations. Before I begin making this brief remark, mainly focused on the Forestry Development Forum today. I want to just begin as civil society, representative of civil society institutions, to say how grateful we are for the announcement of His Excellency President Joseph N. Berka, President of the Republic of Liberia, regarding the establishment of the Carbon Market Authority by Executive Order number 155. The CMA has been given a one-year mandate to oversee the ongoing carbon policy formulation and the subsequent drafting and submission of the Climate and Carbon Act to the National Legislature for enactment. As we welcome the Executive Order number 155, acknowledging communities and private individual rights to carbon ecosystem, and that the carbon sequestration and emission are fairly attributed to them, we seek clarification on the role of the National Climate Change Steering Committee and the maintaining of the stakeholders' participation that accorded the drafting of the carbon policy. We urge the government to continue with these stakeholders' participation processes until the carbon policy is adopted and the subsequent drafting of the Climate and Carbon Act. As we deliberate solutions at yet another forest forum, we also like to commend the Forestry Development Authority for recently initiating digitalization of timber data, which, when completed and updated in real time, will resolve current data gaps and potentially address illegal logging issues, community and government concerns, and likely increase fees and taxes to both. We are aware of the numerous challenges in Liberia forest sector, management and governance, and how these seem to overwhelm the FDA management as the regulator. For example, communities and CSOs have pursued the legally verification department, the LDA, at the SDA, to no avail to provide monthly summary of timber harvest fees and taxes paid in arrears since the first quarter of 2018. Annual reports have not been published of how the FDA is managing Liberia's forests since Honorable Harrison Kamwe tenure. The provision of such information can provide one with insight and informed participation at such event like the Forest Forum or these few days. Additionally, shifting the burden of addressing some of the management committees exacerbate FDA's management challenges. Some senior managers of the FDA have openly attributed to communities unsatisfactory engagement of the community forest management agreements that have been awarded to FDA. However, the facts are on the contrary. For example, the GAC performance audit conducted on several CFMAs during the period July 2018 to December 2023 found that the FDA is not performing its oversight responsibilities adequately. As a result, there have been just a few inadequate due diligence on companies, allow non-performing companies to operate community forests, sometimes more than one without performance bonds, disappearing from the community without the community's knowledge, and most times in arrears. Huge arrears in land rental and cubic meter fees, as well as limited supervision and monitoring of community forest management at the regional level, coupled with limited staff and resource, leading to misapplication of funds within communities. Finally, it is our hope that we will be honest with the deliberations and identify real challenges and agree on joint actions that are practicable, implementable solutions during this forest forum. We want to express our profound felicitations and gratitude to the FDA for organizing this forum and for the invitation extended CSOs to participate. I want to thank you very much for your undivided attention.
So for us to listen to you today, he is Mr. Singh, representing the CSO, Civil Society Organization in Liberia, make her remarks on this program marking the National Forest.
Thank you very much. Please give the SDI and Civil Society another round of applause. We now move on to non-governmental partners, and we begin with Dr. Mary Moku, Country Director, Fauna and Flora, Liberia. Please give Dr. Moku a round of applause as she comes to the stage. Thank you very much. You're most welcome.
Good morning. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. On behalf of the international NGOs, I want to say how honored we are to join you at this very important Forest Forum. Today, we are not just talking about forests or policies. We are talking about life itself. Liberia's forests directly support the survival of hundreds of thousands of people, providing significant ecosystem services and refuge for globally threatened species. However, these forests are under pressure. Logging, mining, unsustainable agriculture continue to take a toll on biodiversity. So the question before us is simple but urgent. How do we balance the need to grow our economy with the need to protect the very environment that sustains it? Conservation is not about saying no to development. It's about saying yes to smarter, more sustainable choices. Commercial forestry, when done sustainably, with transparency, respect for the law, and based on sound science, can boost the local economy. With existing legal frameworks and international commitments, Liberia has the potential to become a leading example of how to balance conservation with sustainable economic development. And now, there is a new opportunity to be grabbed on the horizon: carbon and climate finance. Through carbon credit or trade programs like Red Cloth, we can earn from protecting what we already have. Across all of these opportunities, the role of communities is significant. Communities must be at the center of sustainable forest management. When communities have a voice, when their rights and interests are protected, and when they receive real benefits, it means more effective forest stewardship and the potential to maintain forest resources for future generations. This is therefore a unique opportunity for Liberia to build forest conservation into a driver of economic development for its people. A Liberia that prospers and grows its economy while at the same time contributing to the global fight against climate change through excellent forests and biodiversity conservation. Thank you.
Kindly give Dr. Morocco another round of applause. We now move on to Donor Working Group / FAO, and we begin with Dr. Ibrahim Ahmed, Officer in Charge, FAO Liberia, who will come and make a remark on this occasion. Please give him a round of applause as he comes to the podium. And he will be followed closely by the Deputy Head of Mission of the UK Embassy in Monrovia, and the both of them will be here. She's Joanna McWriter. I hope I got that right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. We are going to make a joint statement as the co-chairs of the donor group. Good morning. I'm speaking on behalf of FAO representative. Please allow us to stand on the existing protocol. It is our pleasure to join this week's National Forest Forum. We thank the government of Liberia and all organizers for convening us. The FAO and the UK co-chair the Forest Development Partners Group in Liberia. We are a lively group of 11 bilateral and multilateral partners, including AFD, GIZ, the African Development Bank, the World Bank, FAO, UNDP, and the embassies of the UK, EU, France, Ireland, and Sweden. Together, we have decades of experience of partnering with Liberia on sustainable forest use across the 4 C's of carbon, conservation, community forestry, and commercial forestry. Our group's priority is to support sustainable and inclusive Liberian systems that benefit communities, create jobs, protect the environment, and boost legal and sustainable trade.
This National Forest Forum gives all participants the chance to articulate a positive common vision for Liberian forests. We look to the forum to give direction and clarity about shared priorities and approaches. We do not underestimate how important Liberia's forests are to its people. Forests are homes, histories, and habitats. Forests can also be an important source of long-term jobs and income for community development. They hold opportunities to attract investment from the private sector, carbon, and other green finance opportunities, such as biodiversity payments. Opportunity only things happen. Between activities across the 4 C's. Second, deforestation is controlled, and the credit of Liberia's forest sector is guaranteed. For us, as development partners, this means developing forest-related and value chains that are underpinned by transparency, accountability, and good governance. And this forum gives us the chance to celebrate many successes since the previous Forest Forum. These include, others, the new environmental sustainability pillar in the President's Arrest Agenda, Liberia's latest nationally determined contribution, and the continued passion and government and community actors. Everyone the chance to speak openly and honestly about challenges will remain. This forum, we look for open and constructive debate about key blockers, mining and logging in forests, the of protected areas, ongoing deforestation, and some opaque examples of land use management and planning. But together we're confident that with all partners taking an active listening and problem-solving approach, this forum, organized by the government of Liberia, will provide a positive way forward on these tricky issues.
Once again, for including the Forest Development Partners Group in this national forum, we congratulate the government for such a broad range of partners, and we stand ready to engage, explore solutions, and support. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Please give another round of applause for Dr. Ahmed and Ambassador McBride. So we now move on to government. And I'm honored to welcome Dr. Imana Yuri Yapawolo from the Environmental Protection Agency, or his proxy. So I see his proxy is coming. Honorable Elijah Wapo, who will speak on behalf of the EPA. Dr. Wapo.
Let me stand on the existing protocol. I bring you greetings from Dr. Emmanuel K. Ure-Yapawolo, the Executive Director and CEO of the Environmental Protection Agency. He had planned to be here, but because of the high-level summit of leaders at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that the Honorable Vice President of Liberia representing the government, so as such he has to be there. And the deputy lost his father, so I have to replace him. Platform guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Forest Forum, as all we know, takes into consideration comprehensive range of issues spinning around environmental issues, economic and social pillar of sustainable forest management. This ensures environmental stewardship that takes into account the issues of climate change, biodiversity conservation, deforestation and degradation, the health of our forests. We have to boast of having large amount in the Upper Guinea forest, ecosystem services that include taking account of what we have, including natural capital accounting, and it must also take into consideration the economic viability, sustainable resource use, balancing demand for timber, wood, fuel, non-timber product with the need to avoid over-attraction and ensure resource viability for the country, present generation and future generation, considering the intergenerational equity, one of the principles of environmental sustainability, the issue of investment and finance, exploring mechanisms to mobilize financial resources to benefit the community and the nation, economic opportunities for all, including job creation and illegal activities, combating illegal activities. Then they should also consider social responsibility and governance issues that brings together stakeholder inclusion, tenure and right use,
equitable benefit sharing. I again the issue when we're discussing carbon policy all around the country. Some of the principals of the president and vice presidents are sitting here, and they were all involved in that. And of course, capacity building. When I browsed through the program for the Forest Forum, it did real justice to what I've done in listening. So we want to be involved and ensure that the decision from this forum benefits the country and benefits all. Thank you very much.
Representing the EU.
Thank you very much. Please give the EP another round of applause. Stable government, I'd now like to welcome the Honorable Jane M. Cooper, Presidential Envoy on Climate Action / Chief Executive Officer, Carbon Markets Authority. Please put your hands together for Madam Cooper. Thank you. Welcome.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Kone, Representative of President Numa Boykai, distinguished platform guests, our people, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I want to first recognize and give my appreciation, personal appreciation, to some of the platform guests. Honorable Rudolph J. Marat, who is around. Honorable Philip C. Parker. Honorable Darlington Tengbe. And Honorable Harrison Kauye. Please look up. These are the giants when it comes to forests. Ambassador Dupre, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to be here today. It's really a profound honor to join you at this National Forest Forum, a gathering that reminds us of our shared responsibility to protect one of Liberia's greatest national treasures, our forests. I want to tell a couple of stories. The first one is that in my spare time, I'm a historian. And in studying my husband's family's history, I found that in the years 800 to 900 AD, when what is modern day Belgium was founded, the first leaders were called foresters, because the forest for them was recognized as the demarcation of control of all of the livelihoods, of the economy, of everything for the people. For generations, Liberia's forests have provided us with shelter, food, medicine, and cultural identity. And we know that they're vital to the planet's health. Absorbing carbon, regulating rainfall, and preserving biodiversity. In 2021, this is my second story, I drove from Harper to Monrovia over 2 days. And if any of you have not driven through our magnificent southeastern forests, you are missing a life-changing experience. And I was Minister of Agriculture, sitting on the FDA board, and I was pleased, we were driving through the night, that every so often I would see somebody with a rifle or gun patrolling the edges of the forest. And I came back to the FDA board meeting chaired by Honorable Conway, and I said, oh, I was so proud of FDA. You're really protecting the forest. And he said, I will now also. Those armed men are the people we are supposed to protect the forest from. They are armed, but we are not. Now, how will you protect? How will you protect the man you're protecting against his arm? And you are not. This goes to some of the data gaps and discrepancies and confusion around definitions, around mandates, the fragmentation here or there, I don't want, that caused President Boakai to make the kind of statement that he made earlier and to give the kind of instruction to the FDA to come and tell him what is what. Because when you go online, you will see one thing in terms of what is Liberia's forest cover. When you go online, you will hear that we are deforesting faster than any country in the world just about. But when you drive through this country, you will see green. So which one is true now? The one your eyes can see or the ones that are being put online? There are all these discrepancies. So I would just like to reassure people this mandate that President Boakai has given is to create the regulatory framework, the policies, and all of that to build on existing work, to not exclude anything that has been done or is being done, but to bring it all together to make our story that we can stand behind. I would liken it to a team. President is the coach. The team members are there, and he has named a captain. It will be me. We are all one team. There is no civil society team. There is no government team, FDA team, EPA team. We are all one team. We are Team Liberia. And this is what the president is hoping to get from here. So as we deliberate in this forum over the next 3 days, let's remember that every policy we adopt, every agreement we sign, every hectare or acre of land that we protect carries a legacy, not just for us, but for generations to come. The world is watching. Liberia can and will lead. Thank you.
So for she is Madam Jenny Cooper.
Thank you.
Minister for
at this stage, we'd like to invite the representative of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And I think I saw the Honorable Nabozo earlier. Nabozo, it's time for you to make remarks. Thank you so much.
Dr. Kona and distinguished members of the platform, all protocol reserved. We want to say thanks to the Managing Director of the Forestry Development Authority and also our forest partners, civil society, the private sector, for the collaborative work that resulted to this gathering. And also special thanks to those who in the leadership are working with Mr. Morad
forest is one of our major sector, and in terms of economic management of the state, we look at resources allocation and distribution very carefully, and we think that it is important this forum should be able to review our assets and our opportunities that we have and how best we can distribute these assets. On behalf of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, that's also a part of the forum, we want to say that two things that we have asked our partners to look at. The forest sector has been a major contributor to our development program, especially to our GDP. And over the years, one of the things that we didn't do much and then utilize the post-war reconstruction process is to look at the value chain in the forest sector, while at the same time taking advantage of the conservation of our assets. Therefore, as we work and collaborate and deliberate this week, we anticipate that your discussion will be deepening on how best we can look at the opportunity for conservation, commercialization, and community assets accumulation. I'm stressing this point because the international law is very much important. At the same time, the domestic law is there to protect the citizen. And we are looking at a trade-off decision that will be made by this forum will be an instrument because we are anticipating a declaration that we can use going forward for our development planning and implementation purposes. Therefore, we count on your technical expertise, your opinion, not only just a political statement. We want for you to give us a technical document that after this declaration signing by the Ministry of Finance, this document can be useful for the President of Liberia to ensure that his citizens are comfortable with our resource allocation and distribution decision, and the partners are also happy with the relationship. The private sector is also happy with the management of our forests. Honorable Managing Director, I believe the word from the President was very much clear and vivid that we should own our asset and manage our asset. On this note, we will say on behalf of Minister Augustin Gafwan, we are here to work with you and work with our partners to ensure the efficient management of our resources. I thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Zul. We now like to call on the Minister of Mines and Energy. Minister of Mines and Energy, please give them a round of applause as they come forward to make a statement on this occasion. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to stay on as this is critical. So I'm Pansat Moba. I'm one of the Deputy Ministers at the Ministry of Mines and Energy. Now, permit me to ask this question. Minerals and forests, which came first? Okay, don't answer. The minerals came first. So, minerals formation is a fundamental geological process that began during Earth's earliest history, long before the evolution of complex life forms like the forest. However, no matter how good the products of mining might be, we are aware of some of the negative impacts of mining itself, to include deforestation, pollution, loss of biodiversity. Yet, we are constantly reminded that the beautiful diamond in the engagement ring came from the mines. The beautiful gold ring you wear as a wedding band came from the mine. The smartphones you got, military hardware, computers, some medical hardware, components in them came from the mine. But that doesn't mean we should neglect the negative impact of mining. So we think that mining can be done in a sustainable manner. Undeniably, doing mining, we will have to cut some fees because most times we will not find a deposit in the city. Even if we were to find it in the city, we still have to impact the life of our people because there has to be a resettlement. So no matter what we do, we cannot avoid some of those negative impacts of mining. But what can we do? Yes, mining can be mining can be carried out in a sustainable way. So what we are proposing to the EPA is that the FDA is that we work together to develop forest smart mining practices. So we want to say we are open to collaboration with the FDA, with the EPA, and every sector concerned with conservation and good mining practices. Thank you very much.
I think we can do better for the Minister of Mines and Energy. I'm now honored to welcome the Minister of Justice. I have a representation here, Minister of Justice. Please put your hands together for the Minister of Justice. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much. I'm Councillor Joel Elkin Antiowe, Assistant Minister of Justice for Economic Affairs. Permit me to stand on existing protocol as I address you on behalf of the Ministry of Justice. The Minister of Justice will not be here because of all pending national engagements. And as a focal person for the forestry sector, he asks that I deliver a few remarks on his behalf. I would like to thank the Forestry Development Authority for organizing this very important forest forum. We understand that this is not the first, but we also know that this could not be the last. We are excited to see that the FDA invited other former officials of the FDA, including former managing directors and former members of the board of directors, including chairperson of the board of directors. It is a worthy initiative. It is an indication that the FDA is sitting on all minds to plant a new one. The President has highlighted a lot of issues that we have already been discussing within the forestry sector. That is an indication that we have an executive marching order here at this forum to deliberate extensively in a way that will inform the FDA future action to report back to the President. Sustainable forest management encompasses a lot of laws. There are a lot of laws that define what sustainable forestry management is. You got to see the community rights law, you got the National Forestry Reform Law, and different other laws. And as a ministry that is responsible to enforce the law, as a ministry that is responsible to hold people accountable who have violated the law, we have immersed ourselves with the forestry sector. We stand toe-to-toe with the Forestry Development Authority in every aspect of their operation. And as a result of that collaboration, a lot of good things are happening within the forestry sector. And as a ministry, we remain committed to ensuring that forestry laws are enforced. As part of our responsibility, or as part of our collaboration, the Ministry of Justice is currently leading the revision of the National Forestry Reform Law in collaboration with the Forestry Development Authority and with support from MFGAP. It has been nearly 20 years since the NFRL was enacted, and consistent with the NFRL itself, within 5 years after its enactment, it was supposed to be reviewed. That revision, because of resources and other factors have not taken place. So we are jumping on this opportunity to do a holistic review of the NFRL to make it responsive to contextual reality within the forestry sector. So we will be engaging all stakeholders within the forestry sector to ensure that this law that we are reviewing will be very comprehensive exhaustive, and will be able to meet the daily needs of sustainable forestry management within the country. I'd like to thank you for taking up the busy schedule to join this forest forum. And we urge you to be very open in your deliberation, feel free, and ensure that the outcome of this forum becomes very productive to the forestry sector. Thank you very much.
Supposed to listen to him today, representing the Ministerial Council. In making the forest premise.
Okay.
Regarding to the laws.
So, I agree with the Assistant Minister, Councillor Tiowe, and speakers earlier on the organization and the execution of this activity, selection of the guests and speakers in their delivery. All of this happening under the visionary leadership and task team lead, the captain of this event, who happens to be the managing director of the Forestry Development Authority, the Honorable Rudolph Mera, who will now come and deliver to us the keynote address for this occasion. Please give the MD a hand.
For the Forestry Development Agency, Mr. Rudolph Mera, taking the podium.
Thank you, MD. Welcome.
Stay with us. If you're joining us,
Well, good morning.
Welcome.
Before I start, let me just say something. I thought my lovely man was giving a speech. His Excellency, Ambassador Joseph Nima Kwaka, Senior President of the Republic of Liberia, being represented in Boston on the senior advisor. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, members of the National Legislature, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, and members of the Judiciary, the Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, especially the Ambassador known as the Prince, and other ambassadors and representatives here present. Ministers of government officials, civil society organizations, communities, international non-governmental organizations, our development partners, the Fourth Estate, fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gave us great pleasure to be before you this morning as we start this forum on leveraging Liberia's forests for economic, social, and environmental sustainability. It is an opportunity given to us to guide what God has given unto us, a trust which we expect to be good stewards of. We stand before you today not to recite the old, tired story of Liberia's forest, but to shake us awake, to speak bluntly and truthfully, not only about where we are and where we are headed if we continue to go on this path, but most importantly, about where we hope to go. Liberia is blessed with the largest remaining intact block of the Upper Guinea Forest in West Africa. Our forests are our shield against climate change,
our reservoir for biodiversity, and our promise for rural livelihood and the economic well-being of our children's future. Based on claims that our forest was a curse to us, we subjected ourselves to forest reforms with anticipation of improvement in our economy, well-being, and the management of our forest resources. It has been 19 years of reform, and we see no improvement. Our forest has been destroyed by illicit activities and claims of individual interest or and above our national interest. But let us admit the bitter truth. We have failed. Our forestry revenue has collapsed from over $40 million before the war to less than $5 million in 2024 and projection of under $6 million in 2025. This is not just a decline, it is a disaster, a disgrace, and it does not present the true worth of our forest, nor does it provide the rewarded revenue to adequately manage the forest, a sector once contributing 10% of GDP now barely scratches the surface. Before the war, Liberia's forests were the pride of West Africa. The world came to us for timber, our rural people had jobs, and our nation saw growth. Then came the wars, the sanctions, and finally the collapse of the sector. Our forests were plundered, misused, and disgraced during the civil crisis. By 1997, when former President Charles Taylor took over, exports soared. It was confirmed between 1960 and 1965 by the German Forestry Mission to Liberia, that Liberia had a sustainable yield of 3 million cubic meters of round logs per annum. Since then, there has been no period where Liberia has ever exceeded 1.5 million cubic meters per annum, yet not a cent could be attributed to direct benefits to community. In 2006, we agreed to reform the forest sector with the hope of making it better for everyone. But let us be honest, in the end, it has also strangulated us. We wrote a law so complex, so bureaucratic, unbusiness friendly, that it turned away investors, tied up logging operations, and left our people poor. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now confront the elephant in the room. Liberia has proudly committed on a global stage to place more 30% of the forest estate under protection. But I must ask you today, is that realistic? Is that even possible? Why do I ask? Because the community rights law and the Liberian rights laws have fundamentally changed the landscape of forest governance in Liberia. Today, almost every inch of land in Liberia belongs to the communities. Communities hold the power. Communities hold the deed. Communities decide. So far, we have successfully placed 475,000 hectares of Liberia's primary forest under conservation out of our commitment to conserve 30% of Liberia's forest estate. Because of the Community Rights Law and the Land Rights Law Act, the government of Liberia has in its actual possession approximately only 2 million hectares. The rest being in the possession of communities. Therefore, government's commitment will be only 30% of the land within its possession. Any other land for conservation will have to be done through a free, prior, and informed consent of the communities. Despite these realities, the Forestry Development Authority remains confident and determined that the balance within its possession can still be progressively achieved with the full support of our donors, international conservation partners, private and sector investors through 1, the expansion and enrichment of existing forest plantations, 2, reforestation and restoration of degraded forest lands, and 3, strengthening engagement with communities and private landowners. Unless we choose to deceive ourselves, we must admit the difficult truth. The 30% target, as currently defined, is a noble vision, yes, but one increasingly detached from today's legal and social realities. Let us take a look at the facts, hard, scientific, undeniable facts. If you look around you today, you see the map of Liberia from 1965 to today. It will be put out there and we'll discuss the issue of that map. In 1965, our forest cover map identified vast blocks of 11 national forests across Liberia. Today, in 2025, when you overlay the protected areas and proposed protected areas, you'll find this shocking revelation. They are the same areas identified in the 60s as the National Forest of Liberia. All national forests were harvested by logging companies, but with major prohibitions. No settlement, no farming, no mining, no hunting, and no fishing. After 60 years of harvesting, after reform, the 11 national forest canopy has not changed. We must again give credit to the Germans for assisting us in developing a method of forest harvesting that allows scientific and sustainable management of our forests. Before the war, our forestry sector was simple, profitable, but sustainable. After 2006, it became sustainable in law, but dead in practices. Most commercial enterprises have failed. Tens of thousands cubic meters of logs harvested have been abandoned all over the country with no benefits to communities or the government. Liberia has lost hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes due to the steady decline of our forest sector since the end of the war and reform. If Liberia had been producing timber at a pre-war level over the last 20 years, we would have earned more than $4 billion in GDP and more than $1 billion in forest fees. Today, we find ourselves in a painful paradox. We have more laws, more policies, and more donor projects than ever before. Yet we see less revenue, fewer jobs, and deeper poverty. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please grant me a few minutes of your time to project on the screen the historical dynamics and comparative analysis of our forest landscape between 1965 and 2008. We are going to project for you our forest canopy from 1965 up until today. Now please, I'm sorry, our partners, if you can come down, I will appreciate it. Could you all please give our senior people a seat up front and step back a little bit, especially my team. My team. Before logging of proper economic activity within our forest started, please go to the map of 1965. The then President William V.S. Tottenham. At that time, the Germans were at the National Iron Ore Company. And President Tottenham invited the here to help to design a forest sector to be sustainable for the country. At that time, the Germans came in, did an inventory of Liberia forest, and told the government that they needed to set aside certain basic forest areas to see there, which are national forests. The Germans also told them that these forests on a scientific, sustainable way, and these forests will remain there forever. So those areas were set up, but they had those prohibitions. You could not put settlements. You could not farm. You could not mine. You could not hunt. You could not fish. But you could harvest. And so from 1965 until the crisis came, those forests were harvested. Some of them by more than 10 companies. Yet the canopy remained intact. Let's go to the next slide. Today we'll see the map of 2003. Those areas that have been demarcated are still the national forest. And if you go into it, you'll see that most of this has still remained basically from 1965. Next slide. During the period before the crisis, if you can look keenly, all of Liberia area were under management from private sector for harvesting logs for trade to the international market. All of them. In fact, the sample is showing that way because it's after 1983. Because in 1983, sample was put under protection as a park. But prior to that, it was being logged by Van Ply, a company owned by the late Paul Getty from the United States of America. In fact, at that time, it was the largest producer. Next slide. Then came the crisis. If you see that, we still have the 11 national forests still intact. This is the period of President Taylor. You will see there are less logging companies because a lot of other companies have failed and did not come back. But at this period, timber production went up because of one company, OTC. And at that time, before the actual crisis, I think after Taylor, Liberia production yielded $140 million in GDP and $40 million in taxes. Next slide. Then came the sanction, came the laws. If you look here, you will see most of what is concession areas that were being given out. And you'll see the green ones are the protected and the proposed protected area. You'll see most of the yellow ones are actually community forests that we have granted. I think our president of the Community Forest Board alluded to the fact that they have 57 community forests across the country. We'll notice that at this time, the whole idea in terms of productive forestry has declined. What am I getting? I think that's the question. We have placed down a lot of forests for full protection. When I say full protection, it means no activity. But if we notice, those areas are being encroached upon. For instance, if you go north, the community there, because they have seen no results, have invited volcano beams and they're burning our forest. And they are now migrating to the south. They are now threatening the proposed protected area. How do we manage the forest? We need resources. How do we get resources? We need to harvest the forest. But harvest it in a scientific, sustainable way that creates resources for government and to be able to do the proper protection of the forest. If we do not do that, we'll see our forests will be diminished. Those that we call in national forests will then become to be able to keep them. At this forum, like my deputy said, we need to balance between conservation and commercial and community interest. When we came on board at FDA, we emphasized that we had a triple down effect: people, planet, profit. People comes first. Whatever we do in the landscape, whether commercial, whether conservation, the lives of our people must change. If the lives of our people does not change, it means our government has done nothing. Our duty is to maintain the forest canopy for this generation and future generations. The only way we can do that is for the forest itself. Don't forget, forest regenerates. Must be able to produce the resources to protect itself. Give some funding for government development projects, and then give money for protection of itself. Why do I say that? In the formulation of FDA funds were never meant to go into government consolidated account. It was meant to manage the forest. And when they made profits, then the government of Liberia had monies from the profit. Says that there were different fees that were charged. The stoppage fee was meant to put back a tree that you take out, to provide money to conserve the forest, to do training for young people in forest management, and to make sure that those who work in forestry have a means of proper retirement. All of those have been swept. We need to bring them back. That's the only way we can manage forests in a sustainable, scientific way and keep the forest. If we do not do that, and we continue to depend on our donors, which we appreciate, please don't get me wrong. I think they are doing a beautiful job, very beautiful job. But it's not adequate. We as government have to step up to the plate. And how can we do this? We have with CI a fund that we call the Liberia Conservation Fund. Government was supposed to place certain funds in there when it was initiated. Only CI put the first $1 million many years ago. Liberia has done nothing yet. Out of the monies we get for conservation, a portion can annually go towards our fund to can build up a reserve that when our donors are fatigued, that they can no longer in funds to continue to maintain the protection of the forest. Please, We cannot continue to do the same old thing over and over again and expect different results. From what I learned in my school year, that is craziness. We all must step back, look at the reality of the times, and see how we can work together to maximize the preservation of our forest, yet utilizing it to support itself. This is the only way we can do it. So I'd like to thank you, and I'll go back upstairs to the balance of my speech.
Suppose you listen to him. He is a managing director for the Forestry Development Agency of Liberia, Mr. Bulov Maj, in Seoul on the podium.
So now I would like to call ourselves
of the National Forest
to a way forward,
Forum 2025,
a call to action.
taking place at the
If Liberia is to survive and thrive, we must enact a new era for our forests, one that is built on realism, courage, and innovation. First, we must strengthen governance and enforcement, empower the FDA, equip communities' eco guards, and use the technology and the rule of law to stop illegal activities once and for all. 2, reform for communities with communities. We cannot dictate from Monrovia. We must sit at the table with the communities at their area who know their own land. They are the true custodians of the 30%. 3, we must invest in value-added industries, build processing facilities, move to finished products, harvest the forest in a scientific and sustainable way so that Liberia stop exporting round logs and create jobs outside of Liberia, but start exporting finished product like a nation with pride and create jobs in Liberia. If the world wants us to keep our forest standing, then a newly established carbon market authority must insist, let them pay not in promises, but in real income that builds roads, clinics, and schools that transform the lives of our people. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Liberia's forests are not just trees. They are God's agricultural gift to Liberia and our sovereign heritage. They are our means of survival and development. They are a trust from God for the benefit of our people and the rest of the world. For too long, we have allowed others to tell our story, write our laws, and provide a narrative for our future. This must end now. Let us leave this forum prepared to tell our story, not with empty resolution, but with sincere commitments to manage our forest sustainably for this generation and future generations to come. Let us reclaim forestry as the engine of national prosperity and growth. Let us make our forest not just a global treasure, but a Liberian triumph. If we fail, history will not forgive us. But if we succeed, generations yet unborn will bless our names. May God bless all of us. And may God bless the work of our hands. To Him be the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you. Please give another round of applause to the Managing Director, the FDA. As you know, we recognize a couple of people who attended or who are attending this event this morning. We're still in the business of recognizing those who come here. We have here with us also Dr. Chris Onanuga.
Suppose if you are just joining this podcast, this is Open Online conducted by only Ministerial government. What is event is ongoing, organized by Forestry agency. Many visitors come then you will view from this mining. This is the time I will do. Goodbye. Bye-bye.